Hey everybody, welcome to Gun Cranks. If you look around, you'll see Brent's actually not here today. He wussed out on us, so he's been replaced with a much more handsome fellow today. So today, Erick from American Cop joins us with Tom, of course, who you know, editor of American Handgunner. Today we're going to talk about, are single stack semi-autos dead? Or should they be? We posted a video the other day. It was on the Savage Stance, their new single stack 9mm, and I really like the gun. And you know, we all cut our teeth on single stack guns of all kinds, and the sort of wide body, high capacity micro pocket 9 is a relatively new invention. But I was surprised by the comments saying, well, who the heck would put a single stack gun out today because everybody else has double stack? That's a waste of time. I just wanted to beg to disagree with them, and I think that there's still a valid market for single stack guns. Part of it, at least for me, is I have small hands, and so even some of the pocket double stack guns tend to be a bit on the big side for me. And I was surprised the other day. I shot my wife Susie's old single stack Shield, and I went, I forgot how good these feel. So I think there's a lot of good reasons. And I know, Erick, you spent a lot of time teaching there at school. What's your take on that whole single stack, high capacity pocket gun? Is there still a valid market for single stack guns?
Yes. In the backup role, right? So kind of like a modern J-frame. You're talking about, that Shield with 6 or 7 rounds in it coming out of the holster. It's flat, it conceals relatively well. Now you got to clean it and take care of it and maintain it. You can't just throw it in the pocket and abuse it to the degree that you can a J-frame. But it's relatively flat, it conceals well in the pocket with a good holster, and you have a pistol that works in a backup role. And I was involved in a critical incident where my backup gun, everything I had went into evidence for a few years, and I replaced it with a Shield as my pocket carry backup gun for work for that time.
Well, you know what? You brought up a really good point, I think. And that's where we all used to be perfectly content to go to the grocery store with a 5-shot J-frame in our pocket, usually with no other reload or anything. And we all felt fine. And so I never understood why people suddenly don't feel safe with an 8 or 9 round 9mm in their pocket. I don't know. Tom, what do you think about all this?
See, I'm kind of taking your side on this. Even, normally I would disagree just on principle because I find you disagreeable.
Right.
But I'm kind of with you on this one, and the evidence is simple. When I carry a smaller gun, it's a Springfield Armory XDS, usually one of the originals, the older one. Real flat, one of you guys mentioned that a minute ago. So it slips into a pocket, or for those times and situations, and Erick, you were talking about backups, it also makes a great ankle carry gun. The thinner the better for that scenario, I think. And I have some small double stacks too, and I like them. They're great. No knocks against them, but I tell you, I do like the feel of a single stack.
It's interesting. When I was shooting that Stance, when I first got it, I didn't realize that it was a single stack. I just assumed it was another, small high cap kind of thing. So I got it out of the box and I was looking at the magazine, and all of a sudden it dawned on me as I loaded it up, and then as I got my first firing grip with it, all those thoughts crossed my mind again. I thought, well, this feels really good. I mean, you can really get I like to call it's like a real grip where you put the web of your hand up behind. With a lot of the higher capacity guns, I tend to have to shift my grip right just a little bit. So it's almost like you're holding a 2x4 but on the side rather than from the back.
Yeah.
And I was really surprised at the subtle difference that lent. I just felt I was more in control of the gun. And I did a short video not too long ago about thumb forward shooting, like what everybody does nowadays. And what it dawned on me one time is that if you remove your forward hand, then you don't have a lot of grip on the gun. And so as I was looking at this single stack Savage Stance, and I always shoot like the old classic revolver grip with my thumbs like this. I realized that, when I hold that gun in my hand that way, I've really got a firm firing grip on it, and a grip that would be hard for someone to get the gun out of my hand. And I know with the higher cap guns, I definitely can't hold on to them as well as that. Eric, at school, what percentage do you see on the line? If they're not shooting in 1911, are there other single stack guns that you see?
So 1911s have really gone down in terms of frequency at gun sight. We in the general classes, we don't see them near as much. Part of it is, it's not that the little single stacks aren't shootable, it's that the difficulty of running that gun with the reduced capacity over a full week of class where you're shooting 1,000 rounds and having to keep all the magazines loaded and everything else. That's where we don't see a bunch of them. But we have had students come through with 43s and 48s and some of the larger shields.
I bet though they become really competent shooters and magazine reloaders by the end of the week, though.
Oh yeah, they're real good at loading mags. They're really good at loading magazines.
I used to see them because by day 2, everybody's thumbs are all taped up and everything. I forgot about that. So, I think the readers bringing this point up, it was good because frankly, the thought had not really crossed my mind. Even when I realized the stance was a single stack, I really didn't think that was something like, oh no, what are they thinking doing that? I just thought, well, this is a nice gun. I like the feel, I like the size, and I carry a Hellcat every day, and I have to say that I transitioned to the Hellcat and I picked it up and I went, oh, this feels fat. I mean, it was really how fickle we are,
Yeah.
And I keep a J-frame handy just because I throw it in an ankle holster as the second gun sometimes. But I confess, in today, because we all have 12-shot 380s and 15-shot Hellcats and all that kind of stuff, is that if I go take the trash out with a J-frame in my pocket, I get the creepy crawlies thinking, oh no, I hope nothing happens, because I know.
You live on the edge, don't you?
I know, that's living on the edge, I suppose, Well, what should we tell people then? Should they be more worried about the fit of the gun to their hand than capacity?
Does it fit? Can they shoot it well? Is it something that conceals? Is it something that they're actually going to carry? Right? Because if they're not going to carry it, kind of what's the point? And having a single stack 9mm with quality ammunition that you'll actually carry with you every day is light years better than something that's sitting at home.
Tom?
I would go with the as long as you're going to shoot it for fun angle. If a gun is not fun to shoot, you're not going to practice with it, at least not voluntarily, and you won't gain that confidence. So, Roy, I think you hit the nail on the head. We're talking apples and oranges here. Smaller grip, easier to control, easier to maintain. As long as it's for me, this is my opinion, a sizable enough gun that I can get a good grip on it and it's comfortable to shoot all day. Yeah, I'm all for it.
Well, I'll close this with a really short story, is that when I met my wife Susie on the police department 150 years ago, she was shooting a SIG P226, which was the early days of that. And so that was, everybody wanted to have as many bullets as possible. And except she always struggled trying to qualify with it. And I went in the other direction when we transitioned to autos in the middle 80s. I got a P225 SIG, so a single stack 9mm. And my peers all thought I was an idiot. It's like, well, you could die because you only have 9 shots, Well, we used to only have 6, but that's another story. And so I had Susie, use my P225 one day, and I saw her eyes kind of like light up a little bit. And so I took her down to the range, let her shoot it. Her next qualification, she aced it. And it was simply transitioning to the single stack, let her get a better grip. And she told me, she said, I felt more in control. I really liked it. By the way, I lost my P225 that day and had to go buy another one, which is
That's
okay.
That's a nice gun. I have one of those.
Yeah.
It's a nice pistol. So.
It really does make a difference. So anyway, all this really made me rethink all that. And I agree with what you said, Eric. There's a lot of people say, oh yeah, I only want a 5-inch all steel 1911. And it's like, yeah, okay, and then that lives in your glove compartment because you don't carry it around. So, all right. Well, hey, I appreciate this, you guys. And I think if you're listening to this and watching it, if you have any comments about this, take the time to go ahead and make them. And I promise we'll keep our eyes on it, and we'll get back to you with whatever we think we can add to whatever thought you have. And so don't forget to subscribe and like us and all those other things. So, all right, guys, thanks a lot. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.